Hello and welcome to Upstart's A-League Grand Final Preview. I'm Paul Baston and I'm joined by Daniel Quinn. How you going, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for joining us. We will quickly run through the paths to the Grand Final for the Western Sydney Wanderers and the Central Coast Mariners. They'll be facing off on Sunday at 4 p.m. at Allianz Stadium. So for the Western Sydney Wanderers, they won 18 games, finished top of the table, winning the Premier's Plate. They then faced Brisbane Roar in the semi-final, a 2-0 convincing victory. Dino Cressinger with his second goal of the season, a clever flick behind his back, and Shinji Ono was all class, finishing the game off with a wonderful left-footed chip. The Central Coast Mariners won 16 games, finished second on the table in the regular season. They then faced Melbourne Victory in the semi-final, a 1-0 victory. Daniel McBreen, 18th goal of the season, an absolute cracker from outside the box. Head-to-head, round one, Western Sydney in their first match in the A-League had a 0-0 draw with the Central Coast Mariners. Then in round 15, Central Coast got the better of them, 2-0 away win, Daniel McBreen scoring both goals. And then in round 23, the Wanderers got their revenge, a 1-0 win at Blue Tongue Stadium, Labano Heliti with the strike on that occasion. We'll jump into Stake Your Claim. Daniel, the Central Coast Mariners, how do they win the grand final?
I think they're a solid side throughout their bone. They start with a back four, which are very solid. They got two of the best fullbacks in the league, Pej Belch and Josh Rose. Then they got one of the best young goalkeepers in the country, Matt Ryan. Then Trent Sainsbury in the central defence with the experienced Patrick Svansvik. Sainsbury's one of the best defenders in the league. He's been absolutely outstanding all season. Then we move into the midfield. They've got the experienced John Hutchison in the middle, and then they've got the likes of McGlinchey, Abini, Stoyovsky, Mitch Duke, Daniel McGreen, who can all play throughout anywhere in that front three really. So they've got a versatile attack that could they can try a few different options to cause Tony Popovich's side a few problems.
Absolutely, yeah. And I've got the Western Sydney Wanderers for a Stake Your Claim. As you said, for the Central Coast Mariners, defence. The Western Sydney Wanderers have been the best defence all year, only conceded 21 goals, haven't conceded from a set piece, which is simply remarkable in a 28-game season to date. And you've got Nikolai Topos-Stanley has been absolutely superb at centre-back, the most clearances and intercepts in the A-League. Michael Beecham's leadership back there as well has been fantastic. And the form. Western Sydney Wanderers have won 12 of their past 13 games, unbeaten in that streak. Central Coast Mariners were the last team to beat them way back in January, which is just incredible. Now, your major headache. What's your major headache coming into the grand final, mate, for the Central Coast Mariners?
Well, they've got the grand final hoodoo. They're the chokers of the A-League, if you want to call them that. They've played 3 grand finals and they've lost them all. That includes the first one against Sydney FC, and then they lost 2 against Brisbane Roar in consecutive years. One on a penalty shootout, the other one in normal time. And but Graham Arnold, the Central Coast coach, he's already broken one hoodoo just last weekend with the win over Ange Postecoglou's Melbourne Victory. Ange hasn't lost a finals in 16 years or something like that, and Arnie finally broke that hoodoo, so that's one hoodoo down, and they've just got the grand final this weekend to break.
Yeah, that is a significant headache coming to the match. For the Western Sydney Wanderers, no Hersey. Yusuf Hersey was given his second yellow card, a stupid yellow card, given that the match was already over, which means he's suspended for the grand final. In the 16 games that Hersey has started for the Wanderers, they've won all 16, and in the other matches that he hasn't featured, they haven't won any of them. He's an absolutely crucial player for them, and to not have him in the attacking role that he's played so well is a big headache for Tony Popovich coming into this match. Before we get a prediction, we'll jump into the yays or nays for this week. Now, Daniel, Shinji Ono scored a cracker goal against Brisbane Roar in the semi-final. Was that the goal of the season?
I don't think so. I think Del Piero's strike against Perth Glory at the NIB Stadium a few rounds back, that was sensational. Ono's was great, but not goal of the year.
That's an A. 2012-13, has it been the best A-League season to date?
I think that's a yay, because the season's been brilliant because of the 3 marquee players that have come in. Emil Heskey at the Newcastle Jets, Alessandro Del Piero at Sydney FC and Shinji Ono at the Western Sydney Wanderers. They've lifted the standard. The whole league's grown immensely over the season with those better players joining the league, and then you've got the Western Sydney Wanderers as well. They've raised the standard, especially replacing the likes of the Gold Coast United and North Queensland Fury, who departed a few years ago. They weren't at the same level, so I think the Wanderers have played a massive part in that as well.
That's a big yay. And to finish off the yays or nays, we've got the grand final being played at 4 p.m. on a Sunday. Should that time and day be changed?
I think the day is fine, I think, Sunday, but I reckon it should be a 3 o'clock or a 7 o'clock. In the middle of the day, in the afternoon, or in the evening. FFA have chosen a time in between. They haven't chosen prime time or anything like that. They've just chosen something in between. So they're a bit undecisive, it looks like, at the moment. But so I think that should be changed. But FFA, they see it as they see the financial aspect of it, and Foxtel and the ratings with the grand finals have done really well at the 4 o'clock Sunday time slot. So I think that's why they've stuck with that. But no, I think it should be moved to earlier in the afternoon or later in the evening.
Absolutely, yeah, couldn't agree more. Now a prediction, mate. Who wins the 2012-13 A-League Grand Final?
I think Western Sydney have got this one. They've done really well all year. They've surprised so many media companies, organisations. So they're the big surprise packet, and they've got the momentum over the Central Coast. The Wanderers beat the Mariners in Gosford only a few weeks ago, and they've won 12, 13 in the last 13. So they've got that momentum and they've got that form. So they'll take that into the grand final and win it in their inaugural year.
And I have to agree. I think the Western Sydney Wanderers, I've tipped them at the start of the final series, and I have no reason to go back on that. They've been magnificent all season, and I think it'll be a stalemate after 90 minutes. I think both defences will rule the roost, but in extra time, I think the Wanderers might just get the Mariners. And thank you for joining us today, Daniel.
No problem, thanks.
And that's it for the A-League Grand Final preview. Have a great weekend.